Last lesson, we were converting between decimals and percentages. This lesson, we are going to convert between fractions and percentages. So it's very similar. Percentages can be converted to fractions by changing the percent sign to a denominator of 100. So for example, 37%, we just put the 37 on the top and we put over 100 because percentages are out of 100 or divided by 100. Fractions can be converted to percentages by dividing the numerator by the denominator. And then multiplying by 100. Okay, so for example, if I have the fraction 3/8, to turn that into a percentage, we want to divide the 3 by 8 and we multiply it by 100 to make it a percentage. So last lesson I drew you a little diagram, and we can actually do a similar thing for this one. We can even extend the old diagram. Fractions or decimals can be converted to percentages in the same way. So a fraction or a decimal, if you want to go to a percentage, you multiply it by 100. If you have a percentage and you want to go to a fraction or a decimal, you need to divide it by 100. Okay, let's do the examples. Example 1 says express these percentages as fractions or mixed numerals in their simplest form. So first of all, we have 17%. So we have a percentage, we want to go to a fraction, so that means we want to divide it by 100. So all we do is go 17 and we divide it, which means we put it over 100. Then we check to see if we can simplify, but 17 is a prime number, so we can't do anything else for that question. That's it, so 17 over 100. For part B, 36%, so we need to divide that by 100, so 36 over 100, and then we just try to simplify. So 36, we look for the highest common factor. Sometimes you might not find the highest common factor straight away. So for example, I might look at that and just go, oh, I can divide by 2. 36 divided by 2 is 18, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. But then there's more simplifying that can be done. Both of those numbers can be divided by 2 as well. So 18 divided by 2 is 9, and 50 divided by 2 is 25. Okay, so 9 over 25 is the simplest fraction. Okay, one more of these. We have 140%. So we put 140, and we divide that by 100, and we want to simplify. Well, first of all, you could divide the top and bottom by 10, and that would get rid of those zeros. You'd have 14 over 10, like that. Both of those numbers can be divided by 2, which would give you 7 over 5. Now, the question did say to leave your answer as a fraction or a mixed numeral. If I wanted to leave that answer as a mixed numeral, I would see how many times I can get 5 out of 7. So that goes once. And then I would have a remainder of 2 over 5. So 140% is 1 2/5 as a fraction. Question 2 wants us to go the other direction. It says convert the fractions to percentages. So a fraction to a percentage means we want to multiply it by 100. So that means if I have 5 over 100, multiplying that by 100 is just going to be the 5. Okay, in other words, if it's over 100, then it's just the number on top. It's just going to be the 5%. So if I can change to make an equivalent fraction out of 100, that would be the easiest thing to do. So for part B, at the moment my denominator is not over 100, but I could find an equivalent fraction that is. 25 times by 4 makes 100. 11 times 4 is 44. Okay, so because that is out of 100, that means that would be 44%. Part C however, is not quite so easy to be done. I can't find an equivalent fraction out of 100. 8 doesn't times by something nicely to get to 100. So for this type of decimal, and there won't be very many of these, you'll need to do a division. I need to divide 5 by 8. Okay, now because this isn't going to go nicely, I'm going to need a few decimal places here. 5 divided by 8, well, that doesn't work. That doesn't go at all. So 0 point. I carry the 5 into my first decimal place. 50 divided by 8, that goes 6 times, because 6 eighths are 48, and that would give me a remainder of 2, which I put onto the next 0. 20 divided by 8 goes 2 times, because 2 eighths are 16, and that would give me a remainder of 4. 40 divided by 8 goes exactly 5 times. Okay, so I have been able to convert my fraction into a decimal. Okay, so that is equal to 0.625 as a decimal. Now, a decimal is easy to convert to a percentage because we just have to multiply by 100. And that means moving the decimal place 2 jumps over to the right. So 1, 2 jumps means that we get 62.5%. Part D, to convert 3 3/5 to a percentage. This one, we leave the 3 that is at the front. I can change my denominator to be out of 100. I might do it in 2 steps though. First of all, I could make it out of 10 by just timesing by 2. So times the top by 2 would be 6 out of 10. That means to make it out of 100, I would times by 10. So times the top by 10 would be 60 out of 100. Now, because I'm trying to find a percentage here, I don't really want a mixed numeral. Let's change that into an improper fraction. 3 times 100 is 300, plus the 60 is 360 over 100. And if we can write our fraction out of 100, that means that top number is our percentage. It is 360%.